Welcome to the Millionaire Mindcast, where we broadcast weekly interviews with millionaire minds from across the globe to empower you on your journey of unlocking a rich and fulfilling life. It's time to unleash your millionaire within. Now, here's your host, Matty A.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Millionaire Mindcast, the show that focuses on all things mindset, money, and motivation to help you increase your income, impact, and influence. As always, I'm your host, Matty A. First and foremost, I just got to say thank you. Thanks for tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on iTunes, maybe you're running on a treadmill, you're driving in your car. Thanks for making me a part of your day, and I want to commend you for just continuously empowering yourself to take that next step in living a more rich and fulfilling life. And really, that starts by leadership, leading yourself and leading others. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today in my episode with Dave Clare, who is the author of Simplified Leadership is Simple, You Lead Others. Now, we talk a lot about just that, leadership. And really one of the common themes right now is that leadership is almost in crisis. There's a lot of people who are lacking the necessary skills and mindset to be a great leader. And when we are able to really elevate into being a leader, not just by position or title, but by actually caring about the people we're leading and empowering the people that we're leading, that is something that opens up so many doors of opportunity, of fulfillment, of friendships, relationships, and we dive into a lot of great conversation around that today. Dave's goal, it's pretty cool, is to lead 90 million individuals to their own space of leadership. And he's doing that through his book, through the podcast, through all of the different speaking engagements that he's doing. So I think you will find today's interview very compelling, especially if you work with people in a team environment, whether you're leading a team, you're on a team, or just in general, how you lead yourself through your own life. A great interview on leadership. So we're going to go ahead and dive into that today. But before we do, have a quick message from one of our sponsors. Yep, it's me. Have you ever wanted to tap into the minds of other successful millionaires and see exactly what things they are learning and implementing in their lives and businesses? Well, now you can by subscribing to Millionaire Notes, the exclusive monthly newsletter that delivers all the books, resources, insights, and strategies that the brightest millionaires from around the world are leveraging to build wealthier lives. Each and every month, the Millionaire Mindcast team and I compile the best tips, tools, and wisdom shared by my guests of the show from all the mastermind groups I'm a part of, from the countless conferences I pay thousands of dollars to attend, and most importantly, the journals my millionaire mentors have given me access to. I've always been a big believer that success leaves clues, and by learning from other brilliant minds, we are able to model our way to a more rich and fulfilling life. And being that time is a limited and precious resource for all of us, we figured here at the Millionaire Mindcast team, we would do all the legwork for you, mine through all the data, and deliver you the most valuable golden nuggets that you can use and implement in your life each and every month. You don't have to do all the research. You don't have to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars to attend the conferences and the events to gain access to this elite information for literally the price of a morning latte for just $5 a month. You can have all these delivered to your inbox. If you have any desire to increase your income, your impact, or your influence, then Millionaire Notes is for you. To receive your monthly edition, text Millionaire Notes, all one word, to 44222. There's no contracts. You can cancel at any time you like. To sign up today, all you have to do is text Millionaire Notes, all one word, to 44222. Let's dive back into the show. Welcome into the show, the man, Dave Clare. How you doing, brother?
Fantastic from down under, Matty. So excited to be here.
We were just talking about the commitment of our Millionaire Mindcast guests, and in particular you. It's like 4 a.m. for you or something right now. What time is it?
It's just past midnight. It's close, but it's just past midnight, mate. Yes.
That's
It's been a long day. I've been 18 hours going since 6 o'clock this morning. So
what have you been working on?
Up working on everything, leadership, writing the book, getting that finished, working with clients, leading a not-for-profit, mate, crushing it all day long. And I actually squeezed in 18 holes of golf.
Okay, so you worked in a little bit of fun too.
Business networking.
Yeah, exactly, right? Relationship building.
That's correct, mate.
And that's, we're going to talk a lot about leadership today, being that that's one of your, spaces of expertise. And yes. I want to, before we dive in, I want to give our audience a little context to your background and what has led you into, the space that you have really carved out a really big niche in, that people come to you for consulting and advice in that space. So rewind a little bit for us. Tell us where you're from and what you've been up to the last, couple decades.
How many minutes do I have?
We got some time.
I'll make the long story as short as possible. Certainly happily born and raised Canadian. So don't hold that against me, mate, from the wintry north. The born and raised Canadian. My parents chose to migrate to Australia back in 1981, probably before you were born. Most of you millennials and that have been listening, this is well before you were born. So 81 we moved to Australia, and I sort of grew up here in the land down under till about 98. And with here I got into banking and finance in 1985. Did that for about 13 years, leading teams. Probably about my fourth or fifth year in the bank, someone identified me as having some leadership abilities, and I started leading or supervising teams back in the day. And and that just progressed. And I advanced rapidly through my career, my ability to, motivate a group of people or inspire a bunch of people to move towards a common goal and achieve really great results. So with that, I moved up with no formal qualifications, as a matter of fact. Most of my buddies who left school to go to university ended up coming to work for me. So, once again, from a mindset or mindcast, education is important, don't get me wrong, but one of the things that I learned early in the piece was my attitude was far more important than my aptitude. And I had a great work ethic, and certainly from a Millionaire Mindcast point of view, again, your work ethic, people like Gary Vaynerchuk talk about all the time. You got to hustle, you got to work hard. Got to put in the work. So I put in the work when I was younger, but I was doing it in the corporate world. So I advanced rapidly through that, and I got to a stage where finally a piece of paper might become relevant in my life, because if I wanted to get any further back in the 90s in corporate banking, you needed a piece of paper to get somewhere. Once I got the level I'd got to. And I decided that I was too old, too tired by then to go to university. So I decided to look for other career opportunities, and saw an opportunity to do some leadership development in Papua New Guinea, of all places in the world. And I had some phenomenal leaders. And actually, in my book, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, I tell the story about one of my really best mentors and leaders who I had in the bank. And he's the one who encouraged me to continue to pursue my leadership journey. But with that, so when this opportunity came up in New Guinea, I'd never been to New Guinea before. Didn't even go and take a look at it. They offered me the job, packed up my wife and my 18-month-old son, said, we're going to New Guinea to live. And people were, actually, it was quite amazing, because a lot of people were actually confused by that. So other people were telling me we were crazy and we shouldn't do it, and it's risky, and we've never been there. And once again, from a mindset point of view, I'm like, well, sometimes you just got to take a risk.
Right.
And so packed up, went there, and was there for about 14 months. When my wife, or ex-wife then, was pregnant with our second child, we decided not to raise another child in New Guinea. But once again, lived there for about 14 months doing leadership development, taking the national managers and the expatriates of a bank over there into modern day leadership. So once again, that was me taking the next step into my foray into leadership, was actually starting to do leadership development with people. So rather than being a leader, I was now taking all my learning and my experience and practices and facilitating and coaching other leaders into more modern ways of thinking and leading and managing teams. And it was fascinating. I could go on we could do a whole podcast on my time in New Guinea, but then left that and came back to Australia for the birth of my daughter. And then decided that I didn't want to just settle back here to Australia, so I went back to Canada for about 10 years and thought I'd go and see what was going on in Canada again, and went back there, and lo and behold, instead of actually finding a job, I found an opportunity to buy a license to one of the largest leadership and personal and organizational development companies, Leadership Management International, and bought a license for that and became a licensee of that organization for about 5 years, and was fantastic, and won many awards. I had 3 Canadian Clients of the Year in a row, 2 world clients out of 60 countries around the world. Clients that I'd worked with had become world clients of the year, became sales leader of the year. So it was a fantastic time, but I got a bit disillusioned with the personal development industry, and it was quite fascinating for me that it all became about selling boxes and programs more so than about facilitating the results for people. And for me, I was more interested in seeing the success of my clients than I was about how many boxes I sold. And once again, from a mindset point of view, the more I focused on my clients and their results, and that I got better results myself, and I made more money myself when I put them first.
So I want to unpack all of that, because you've shared a lot in there that if we can kind of sift through all of that.
I'm probably one of your older guests, man. That's probably why.
No, not at all. Actually,
Okay.
you're probably right in range with, based on success leaves clues, right? And so you need to have some experience under your belt. Obviously, there's people that are experts in a particular space, but to be able to go through a decade or two and be that fully engulfed in leadership and in the the space of leadership. There's some gems in there. So I want to make sure that we uncover them and polish them up so our listeners can really get a better idea of how they can take some of this back into their own lives and their own workplaces. Now, I'm curious, because leadership is this quote unquote, necessity for success, right? And everybody has a different definition of what leadership is. And also, a lot of people, there isn't a true, this is what leadership is. So for you, what is leadership?
Great question. So for me, leadership is helping people to dream more, be more, do more, and have more in their life. It's that, I work on it. Leadership is not a position. So if you look at how many managers do you know around in businesses and things like that have the word manager in their title?
Right.
And then you look at how many leaders do you know that have the word leader in their title? Leadership is not a title or a position. It's an act or an art to me. So it is the art of helping people to do more, be more, and have more in life. And because, really myself and a bunch of other people would tell you the same thing, that leadership is about creating more leaders, not followers.
Right.
And that's what I firmly believe. So to me, my definition of leadership is helping people to dream more, be more, do more, have more in life. Because I want to cultivate other leaders.
Right. And now that sounds easy enough. At the same time, for a lot of people is, well, how do I get to that position of not only seeing myself as a leader, but others seeing me as a leader? What does that recipe look like? Because I think for a lot of people, they say, okay, I've flipped the switch on in my head. I'm a leader now. And that's not as easy, nor does everybody, resonate with that. So how does somebody become a leader?
Great question. So it depends if you want to be a leader of yourself or a leader of others.
Which one comes first?
Leader of yourself. I reckon you can't lead yourself, how are you supposed to lead anybody else?
Right.
So if you can't inspire yourself to dream more, do more, be more, and have more in life, then how are you going to help anybody else to do the same thing? And so that's the first challenge for people. The recipe, I have a process, if you like, that I learned, which I've adapted and changed a little bit over the years, but as how to create, it's the process of human behavior, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
And so, once again, my book, Simplified, Leadership is Simple, You Lead People. All then you need to do is understand people, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's rocket science at its best, right? So, but if you understand people and how people become who they want to be in life, then you can help them to be more, do more, and have more in life. So basically, very simply, then for yourself and your listeners, everyone has their own definition of success. So however you, Maddie, define success for yourself right now, whatever that is to you, whether you like your level of success you have right now is another question, but however you define success has come from your results. So all the things that I've achieved in my life have culminated in this picture I have of success at the moment. What we know then about achieving results is how whatever behaviors I take will drive me to achieve those results. Okay. Then what we've known for probably over 2,000 years in all the writings, and that is what drives human behavior is how I think determines how I act. Right? So then how do we get the thinking, or what I call the attitude? So my attitudes are my habits of thought. So how did I get those habits of thinking that drive these behaviors? Well, that came from a process of conditioning through spaced repetition of a bunch of inputs from parents, teachers, media, society, what some people call other people's rules. We've heard all this stuff and we've formulated that and attached emotional and value to that. And then it's conditioned the way that I think, therefore then driving the behavior that I have and getting me the results in my picture of success. So if you understand that process flow, that's human behavior. And so as a leader, then if I apply that to myself, I just want to create a bigger picture of success for myself. Well, what does that look like to me? What results would I be accomplishing? And what behaviors would I need to demonstrate to get those results? Because it would be fair to say, I'm not demonstrating those behaviors, otherwise I would have those results.
Right.
The old definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a new result. So from a leadership point of view, how do you become a leader? Well, you sit there and create a new picture of success for yourself, identify what the results you want to accomplish, and then basically what are the behaviors that would do that. Now, I take that and I simplify that even more. So if you just worked out what you want to have in life, right? What are the things you want to have? Then who would you need to become, and instead of grow to become, to have those things? Because once again, if you don't have those things, then you're probably not the person you need to be yet to have that level of success in your life. So who do you need to become? So I start with people because it's easy for our brains to go, these are the things I want to have. Great, you don't have them now, so who would you need to be to have those? And if you take the be and the have and put it together, behave.
Yeah. And
right?
Now reverse engineering this formula is essentially what we're breaking down right here.
Yeah. And you take that stuff and you move that down to the bottom and you say, okay, if this is who I want to be, then to have what I want to have, or need to be to have what I want to have, and here's the behavior I would be demonstrating, then all I do is go, well, how would that person think? And condition myself using new inputs by design rather than default and circumstance, by design to think like that type of person, or that how I would be if I was already that successful level of success in my life, or had that millionaire mindset, or mind, if I had that mindset, this is how I would think. Great, so I'll just start thinking in line with that. And this is where it gets really intriguing, because you ever heard someone tell you, fake it till you make it?
Sure.
Mate, I want to tell all your listeners, if anybody tells you to fake it till you make it, run far away from that person as you can. You don't need to fake anything in life. So to become the leader you want to be, what I say is to act as if. If I know then that this is who I need to be to have what I want, and then these are the behaviors I would demonstrate, all I go as a leader and say, okay, here's the situation come up. If I was actually already achieving that level of success and I was that person, how would I think or act in this situation? Well, I would think or act like this. Well, then I'm going to act as if that's already happening, or I'm already that person, and start moving myself closer to that picture of who I want to be. And then you take that and then you apply that to everybody else. So that's my human behavior. That's your human behavior. That's all the listeners' human behavior. And as a leader, then my role is just to go, okay, Matt, tell me, what does success look like to you? What results would you like to be achieving in your life that you're not achieving right now? What behaviors do you think you would need to demonstrate to do that? And then I bring that down the bottom, and that whole new inputs to condition through spaced repetition to condition a new way of thinking. That's me coaching. That's leadership. I do that all day long with the teams that I lead, is to shift their thinking, because I know then if I shift their thinking, we'll change the behavior. But a lot of leaders and organizations or managers, what do they focus on in business? Behavior, not thinking. They want to change the performance of people's behavior. I don't like the way they're behaving. Those behaviors won't get the result. So we do performance management instead of what I call performance leadership. I help you perform better at a higher level by shifting your thinking, because I know how you think determines how you act.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't play above the line. I play below the line.
I like that. Because if you can really help someone change the way they are thinking, essentially it's going to lead them to feel and act differently, which
Correct.
sets you on a new track of getting different results and reaffirm. I think of it almost like your brain being a filing cabinet, and you have all of these files in your subconscious mind. And anytime an experience or a conversation or an opportunity presents itself based on your previous, files in your filing cabinet up in your brain, something gets unfiled, shifted out into your conscious mind, and then you act a specific way. So for a lot of people, they don't even, know what they don't know. Essentially. Yeah. So how do you as a leader, help people get to that space of kind of consciously knowing they're incompetent in something and moving them to the next level?
Well, once again, I struggle with questions like this because to me, I find it very simple. I just go back to what does success look like to them? What is the picture of success that you want to have in your life because you don't have it right now? If you're being incompetent in this space, well, what would competence look like? It's helping people have two pictures. I know the thinking you have and you're acting and behaving like this because of this thinking. What does the picture look like? What does competence look like in that space? Well, then how would you need to think and act in that? And then my job is just to coach that condition. It's kind of like Chinese water torture, the constant tide erodes the toughest rock, drip, drip, drip. And so constant gentle persuasion to shift that thinking, because it's a process. You didn't get the thinking you have right now in one hit. It's taken time, over time, to create the thinking you have, which drives the behaviors you have now. So everyone is so impatient. They want to make the changes now and want to see the results now. Well, results only come from behavior. So new results only come from a shift in behavior. A shift in behavior only comes from a shift in thinking. A shift in thinking comes from, if you like, reconditioning. Your example of the filing cabinet, when was the last time people went and cleaned up their files?
I mean, that's a hard thing for people to even wrap their head around and going, well, where do I start? And what thinking is wrong for me? There's a lot. That could be a tough one for people if they don't have a leader to help guide them.
That's right. And to challenge the thinking and to, let's say I would go back to my time in the bank. I had one of my best leaders I've ever had. He invaded my personal space to some extent, but he saw something in me. He saw more in me than I saw in myself at the time, because I was probably, I didn't know what I knew. You know what I mean? It's like back to your point. And he the one who told me, like, Dave, my job is to inspire you, which is to breathe spirit into you, because sometimes you don't have the spirit or the motivation that you need. So my job as a leader is to breathe spirit into you. And I always remember that. And it's like, and,
I love that.
So he was really inspiring. His name's John McGinnis. Still a mentor of mine. We catch up probably once or twice a year. Live in different parts of the world now, but that was it. And he that was his role. He gave me, and in the book I talk about this, there's three things that people want. And this is what, as a leader, if you want to get that, is people want something to believe in, someone to believe in, and someone to believe in them. Right? So the something to believe in is a sense of purpose. So he gave me a sense of purpose to what I was doing. He helped me, I'm a firm believer we all want to have more, meaningful lives. And we spend most of our time at work, at least 1/3 of our life at work, or working at things. So as leaders, our job then is to give people work that is meaningful. So the work that's full of meaning. Yeah. And so that's hence a sense of purpose. And that's what creates engagement. So then I'm engaged now. And then to look at someone who believes in me, that empowers me through my set of core values, or a set of core values that the organization has or that I share, and empowers me, like true empowerment, to make decisions and to coach the gap between the decisions that I make and the decisions that I'm capable of making with different thinking. And so then I have someone actually then to believe in me, and then I need someone to believe in. So I need to have a leader who has a inspiring vision of the future, who can breathe that spirit into me and or the rest of the people in our organization to do that. So someone to believe in, something to believe in, someone to believe in me. So that's a purpose of values and visions that creates engagement, empowerment, and inspiration. And that's what that leader did for me. And, getting the long way around, but I guess getting back to that, my job, or if that was, someone wasn't sure, then my job is to challenge them in their thinking. What does success look like for you? Tell me about your life. How would you like it to look like, and things? Because this is really important. Like, people, in organizations or leaders in organization only tend to focus on leadership from an organizational point of view. When I work with people, and what I suggest to leaders today is to work on the whole person. Like, if I can help you become a better leader of your life, you become better at your work, you become better at your relationships with your partner, your spouse, your kids, your community, whatever it is that you get involved in, you become a better leader in life. And through that, the organization will win.
Right.
So this is, one of my core strategies for leaders is, can I swear on this show?
Absolutely, man.
Okay, just checking. I'm a Canadian, I'm polite. I have two core strategies.
Thank you for asking. That was very
okay.
kind. I've never had a guest say, "Can I swear on this show?"
I do a lot of work on the radio, and like, Dave, you can't swear. Okay, but it's to care and give a shit about your people. Actually give a shit about your people and their goals and what's important to them, and care about them. Like, actually truly care about them as human beings, not just as a means to the end to you achieving your business goals. This is why, and I battle with human resources, and people are the greatest asset of your business and the largest recurring expense. We treat them like balance sheet items or these things or resources that are expendable.
Right.
These are human beings who have goals and dreams and desires. And my job as a leader is to help them dream more, do more, be more, and have more in life while they're with our organization, because I know the more engaged and empowered and inspired they are about their life, the greater work they'll do here. And if we can help them for that period of time find that meaning in the work that they're doing, they can create this whole best expression of themselves through the work that they're doing with us in our organization at this time.
That's great. This is such a missing conversation. I'm curious, because you see it more than I do. Why do you think there's such a lack of leadership, true leadership, this kind of leadership that we're talking about in organizations? And how the hell is it going to be fixed? Because I know that there are a lot of amazing up and coming companies that this kind of leadership is very present. And then there are many companies where it is 100% absent, and it's, a reflection of what you just talked about. Why is it lacking? Where's that disparity?
Okay, so I'm a firm believer that leadership is currently broken. Leadership is in crisis mode around the world. If you look at Deloitte and Gallup and a bunch of studies that they do, human capital trends reports and all that, they suggest, and here's the interesting statistics, that we spend $50 billion a year around the world on developing leaders. That's universities, books, training programs, you name it. And that's through the studies that are done. So if I said to you, Matt, we're going to spend $50 billion to make things better, and then we published the results of that and found out that the disengagement rates of employees has gone up to 87% of employees engaged in businesses are actually disengaged, and we just spent $50 billion, how can that be? How can we be spending $50 billion over here and then have actually the results get worse and the gap get wider?
Yeah.
So leadership is broken. It's in crisis mode. So why? Because I think what a lot of people think is leadership is actually just management. Excuse me. So, we're leading people to achieve business results, but we're not actually leading people to become the best version of themselves. And organizations are like, why should I have to put energy into helping that person become that? They're here to do a job. They're here to work for us. So I don't know about you, but I don't know how many people jump out of bed in the morning and go, gee, I can't wait to make the boss rich today. Not many. Now they know that if they help the boss achieve the goals, that they keep their job and all this sort of stuff. So, I understand that, but I'm saying I don't get out of bed in the morning and go, woohoo, I can't wait to make the boss rich today. I get out of bed thinking, geez, I can't wait to fulfill the purpose of what I'm here to do today and interact with people and achieve greatness today. And whatever that is for each individual. So we're not treating people like individuals that have goals and dreams. We're worried about how they can help us instead of how we can help them. So one of the biggest shifts we need to do in organization or for leaders today, and any leader that they're listening, is what can you do for your people? And Richard Branson talks about this a lot, and stuff that he puts out is, your first customers are your employees. And he's right, so like I lead a not-for-profit as well where I am here. I'm fortunate to be involved in this amazing organization. And I think, you know, they are my first customers. I want to make sure that they, you know, we value extraordinary service as an example. I want to make sure I provide extraordinary service to them, so they know what it feels like. So then they know then how to pass that on to our customers. Because they're the ones who deal mainly with our customers. I'm you know, sent to lead the organization, but they do the face-to-face work with the customers. So if I don't provide extraordinary service to them, how do they know what extraordinary service is or looks like or feels like? So then how can they pass that on? And they are my best customers. So what we need to do in organizations today is start caring for the person across from us, not be worried about ourselves. And this is like in sales. Have you ever been involved in sales, Matt?
I have.
In real estate, for example?
Yeah.
So if you're helping someone to sell a house and you're going to get commission from that, for example, do you think the person who's selling their home is excited about making you allowing you to earn your commission? No. Or they're excited about selling? They're excited about selling their homes, like moving to their dream home or doing whatever.
Yep.
Right? So it's no different in an organization. So if I'm in real estate, I'm going to hand you my $500,000 home, for example. I've busted my ass for the last 10 years, sweated all the work and energy to get this, to build this asset up and own this home. And now I want to sell it and move in another way. So I'm saying, here's $500,000 in 10 years of my life, Matt. And you're going, can't wait to make my commission.
Right.
Right. So using your industry that I know you dabble in a little bit there significantly, but the same thing when we're dealing with people in the organization. I'm here busting my ass, sweating everything off in that, and you're going, you beauty, I'm going to get rich from you doing all this shit for me. And instead of saying, no, hang on, this person is, you know, let's look at them as be thankful they've chosen to work for us instead of saying you should be grateful that you're working for us.
Yeah, just that shift.
Yes, you know, it's a tough question to answer, but I think we just need to start caring more about our people ultimately in the end, because, you know, especially today, and if you look at the shift in generations, by the year 2020, 50% of the workforce or more will be millennials. And what they want, and they don't want to, you know, with that age bracket or group, you know, once again, I don't like to classify people and stuff like that, but predominantly they're looking for, you know, sense of meaning, want to be with part of an organization that cares, that has some, you know, when I say sense of purpose, I'm not talking about, you know, saving the earth or the planet, but like a sense of cause or calling or movement about what this organization does and why it exists. And someone that cares. If you don't care about me, I'll just go for someone else who does.
Right.
Or I'll go, you know, worse that, I'll go off and do it myself.
You do a lot of studying on the millennial generation.
Yes.
What I'm curious on, I'm a millennial.
Yep.
And I have a lot
two of them as children. 3 of them, actually, sorry.
I have a lot of peers and friends and leaders that I look up to that are millennials. What are some of the advantages that millennials have that people aren't giving them credit for in the leadership space?
You know, again, great question. I love millennials. I do. I think you guys are going to change the world for the better. So when I work with your sense of purpose, like the world needs purpose-driven leaders right now. And a lot of the millennials, what I see is they care about what they're doing. They want to understand why more than ever. My generation and before that, the why was squished out of us. Why? Dad said so. That's why. Shut up and do. Right. So we kind of got that squished out of it. You guys are stubborn as hell and won't accept that. You know, and I think that's awesome that you challenge why, and you look at the world differently, and you know, you care more about what you're doing and why you're doing it than how much you're making from you doing it. Everyone still wants to make money. I get that.
Yeah.
But a lot of the millennials that I deal with, they're just like, I want to make a difference and make money from making that difference. But making a difference comes first. Mm-hmm. You know, I want to do something meaningful with my life. And I think you guys, it's funny, I think you guys understand legacy better than we did. I'm just starting to understand a bit more now because, you know, as you get to a certain age in life, you go like, oh shit, I'm just about to turn 51 and I'm sitting there, geez, I'm a third of the way through my life now.
I love that you said a third of the way through your life.
Yes, but you know why? Because of you guys. Because I think that you guys are going to find a way to let me live till I'm 150. With all the advancements and the care and all that sort of stuff you guys are going to bring to the world, and all the advancements in technology and health and all this cool shit that's happening, like I'm going to, so I've got time. So it's great. Because of you guys, I think I now have time. Whereas you guys are already thinking about building a legacy now. I'm thinking, geez, I better start my legacy and
you better get on this.
That's why absolutely. I said, I got work to do, man. I gotta get moving.
Yeah, the impatience is a curse and a blessing at the same time. For those that are, really taking that next step in their wealth building journey, while making sure that they're still in alignment with their purpose. What do you have to say to them in regards to things they should be aware of on their journey of fulfilling their purpose, on their journey of creating more wealth? But at the end of the day, what do you feel is most important that they keep in the forefront as they do it?
I'm a walking contradiction. So I say, as I give this advice to a lot of people, is you need to be urgently patient. Right. So, and to me, what I mean by that is you need to act with a sense of urgency, but be patient about the results. And you know what? Don't compare your beginning to someone's middle, or your middle to somebody's twilight or end or whatever. Right. Very dangerous practice. So people, act with a sense of urgency. Absolutely. You got, and this is why, everyone talks about hustle and grind. And I think those are really great words, and they're become a little bit, a lot of people use them as a bit of a toss.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. So I like get in your flow and then hustle in your flow. Right. I mean, I'd rather be in a state of flow, harmony, whatever, in what I'm doing, and then work my ass off in that. Mm-hmm. This is work smarter, not harder. Well, I say, get very smart about what you're doing and work your ass off in it. So work smart and hard, and that, but be urgently patient. Once again, if you go back to the process of human behavior, just because you're a millennial doesn't mean you're immune to that process. Shifting thinking to drive new results, it's a process. It's spaced repetition over a period of time to condition a new way of thinking, to drive new results, to get, new accomplishments and new success. Yeah. That's a process. It's a process. So you got to understand. That's why I educate as many people as possible on that process, because if you don't do that, you won't understand why you're not getting the results you want. And then that causes frustration and angst and stuff like that. And I think I get a little bit pissed off when people call the millennial generation impatient. I just, to blanket a whole generation as impatient, I just think you guys have a higher level of desire and want to achieve things and expect more of yourselves. And things were probably a little bit laid back, and my dad's generation and my generation was a little bit different. And every generation is picked on the next one, right?
Well, it's funny because every generation. That's such a great point, because every generation has introduced a new way of doing things, a new way of thinking things. That's the evolution of human beings. And to sit here and basically call somebody out for doing something differently is ridiculous. But you touched on something that I really wanted to bring up was, I'm a big believer that if you can master this mindset, you can commit to building these principles and these habits, whether you're 50 or you are, a millennial. And I think millennials have a huge advantage with the access to this kind of information and the kind of resources that are available now that weren't 10, 20, 30 years ago. We're young enough, and even 50, 60, 70-year-olds are young enough, should they choose to do something consistently over time. And if you stay in that space, you will win, because it's a long-term game is what we keep going back to. So if you're a millennial and you're listening to this and you can master some of these things and know that wherever you're at right now, wherever you're at in the next 12 months, wherever you're at in the next 5 years, in the big picture, that is a fraction of what you can accomplish. But if you stay consistent and you stay in a growth-based mindset, you will continue to tier up and level up. But going back to that impatience thing, we're all impatient. So I can understand that, but getting it and understanding that this is a long-term game, and going back to what I call the crock pot mentality versus the microwave mindset. You got to get in the crock pot mentality, because what you're doing today is only a little blip in the picture of your overall, lifespan. So keep plugging away.
That's a great point, man. And I want to challenge one thing, and I've coined a phrase. I think it's a Dave Clare original. Is I've started a new generation. We're called the perennials. Right? And that's like all of us who are 40 plus. Because everyone thinks that the future belongs to the millennials, because you guys were all born into the time with, Facebook and the Googles and all this really cool stuff that's come out. You know what? But we're all existing at the same time. You guys are just coming into that world. Like, I talk to a lot of more mature people. I'm probably more a millennial at heart than I am a Gen X in biology. I love all this cool technology and shit like that. And when we talk online and offline, most of the millennial generation don't understand what offline means. Everything's online. What are you talking about offline? It's like, it's all online. That's right. It's all they know. But so for us, the only difference is we're used to offline, and now everything's going online. And I say to guys, like, you know what? The internet we're all childlike still to the internet. The internet's only really, really about 10 to 15 years old. Facebook's only, 12 years old. These things, we're all childlike to it. So it's just our attitudes. You guys have just walked right into it. So it's just set up for you guys. So us as a perennial, we're long lasting. That's what perennial means. Forever, long lasting. So I said to anyone who's over 40 plus who's out there who's listening to this as well, you have time. We're all childlike to the internet. You just have to choose to embrace, and then not even you have to use the internet to do things, but any advancements in technology and all that cool stuff, there is time. You can be a perennial. I'm a perennial, man. I'm got a long lasting. I got, like I say, 50 years, at least 30 good years, possibly 50 to mate. And if I look back 30 years ago, I was only 20.
Right.
I mean, I think
cover a lot of ground in 30 years.
All the stuff I did in the last 20, 30 years of my life, I'm like, holy crap, with everything I have available to me now, my knowledge, what could I accomplish in the next 20 or 30?
Yeah. This
is a long game.
It's a compounding journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and I don't think you guys are impatient. I think the impatience, what comes out or expresses itself as impatience, is actually a burning desire to make shit happen. Mm-hmm. And, the angst can come from, or where it can perceivably be expressed as impatience, is when you start comparing yourself to other people. So just don't compare your journey to somebody else's journey. You can learn from other people and where they're at and things like that, but you won't be, I can't wait till one day I'm going to be where you are. You'll never be where I am, because by the time you get here, I'll be somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So don't bother comparing to me. Like I said, there's so many other guys that are out there that are farther ahead in their leadership journey, or they have already got 3 books published and they've got this, and I'm like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. This is where I am. This is where I'm going. This is what success looks like to me. Here's the results I want to have. Here's the behaviors I need to demonstrate. Shit, just grind through that flow of my becoming who I need to become to achieve what I want to achieve. Yeah. And build my own legacy. Yeah.
Yeah. And just stay consistent, stay tenacious, because I mean, you can, I'm sure, relate to this. I'll speak for myself. There are days that you just feel shitty, and you hit the roadblocks, you hit the ceiling, you run into a wall. You just got to keep pushing through it. The most successful and fulfilled people in the world who keep leveling up in life are the ones who are consistently grinding through. And the challenges are always those opportunities for growth. Hey, I want to make sure that we, as we wrap up here, that we touch on the book Simplified, because if anybody is listening in and has enjoyed this episode and interview as much as I have, we've only gotten into scratching the surface of what is in Dave's scary brain. So if if people want to check out the book and what you're up to, when's Simplified coming out?
So the manuscript will be finished probably at the end of this week or end of next week at the latest. I've just got some last bits and pieces and tweaks on the manuscript to do. I do not know. See, once again, this is about focus. So I have a book coach. He's Dave, finish the manuscript. I will take care of the editing, copywriting, and all that stuff. I get so many people ask me, so I don't know how long that process is. I don't want to know.
Yep.
What I need to know is stay focused on getting the manuscript finished.
Yeah.
And then I have people in place who are going to help me and support me in getting all that done. But having said that, it's probably about a 2 to 3 months. I would imagine by end of April.
Well, I'm super excited.
The shelves.
Yeah. I'm super excited for you, especially of all the conversations you and I have each and every time. There's some mind-bending, nugget that you drop on me. So it's going to be great to, see a lot of what we've talked about and what you do and live on a daily basis get put into this book. So we'll be sure to, have information of when that's available and ready. And for those that want to follow what you're up to on social media in the meantime and just, stay up to date when you're launching and all that kind of stuff, where can they find you?
You can just go to daveclare.com, so DAVECLARE.com. And on there's actually a link where you can actually, I guess, pre-register or just put your name down and say, hey, I'm interested to be kept up to date with Simplified. So you go to my website, you can check it there. Also on my Facebook page, facebook.com/profit for FOR purpose. And that's profit as PROPHET. Because I'm a firm believer, if you become the prophet of your purpose, you will profit from your purpose. And so that's kind of my I guess, shtick or my tag name is truly that, because a prophet is an inspired leader or teacher. And that's what I think everybody needs to be about, whatever their sense of purpose is in life.
Amazing.
So that's why my Facebook page, my Instagram, my Twitter, they're all Profit for Purpose. So you go there, but the easiest way is just go to my website and check that out. And the book is, I'm on a mission to create and inspire 90 million purpose-driven leaders in the world today. So when you talk about legacy and you talk about, I got work to do. 90 million, because based on the studies done, so that's what this book is for. I want to reach 90 million people. And there's 142 countries around the world where the surveys have been done. 900 million people disengaged or actively disengaged in the work they're doing. So if there's 900 million people and a 1-to-10 ratio of 1 leader for every 10 employees, that means there's about 90 million leaders out there who aren't engaging their people. So man, I got a lot of work to do. How many listeners? How many listeners have you got? So I can take this off my list. You're 10,000 or 100,000 listeners, but I got an email from someone the other day saying, I am so inspired and I'm becoming purpose driven. Everything I do, thank you so much. And I'm like 89,999,900.
Check one off the list.
Take one off the list.
That's awesome, brother. Well, thank you so much for pouring into our Millionaire Mindcast community.
No,
you are definitely
my pleasure, mate.
A part of the family. And we'll be sure for anybody that, wants to check out some of the links or tools references that Dave made here in the episode, we'll have those in the link below or in the show notes. So we'll be sure to, stay tuned on what you're up to, Dave. And thank you for, taking the time with us today.
My pleasure, mate.
See you in the near future.
Absolutely. Can I drop one more bomb on you?
Oh, of course.
Okay, so if you're a purpose-driven leader, here it is. This is a purpose-driven business. Which what I call it. People have business models, and I say, well, I take your business model and flip it into a model business, because I think that's what the world needs, is model businesses, okay? And here's a model business. I want your listeners to take this away. Do good, which is purpose. Make money, which is profit. Do even more good, which is corporate social responsibility. And repeat.
Sounds like a pretty good formula right there.
Yeah, dead simple, eh? Get up, do good, make money from doing good. There's nothing wrong with that. But then do even more good with that money and repeat.
Love it. You heard it from the man, Dave Clare.
That's right. Go build a model business, people. Become purpose-driven leaders, please. I got 90 million. I want to get as many of you guys moving as possible.
Thanks, brother. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Matt.
you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, that does it for this week's interview with the Prophet for Purpose himself, Mr. Dave Clare. Loved the conversation around leadership. It is a very lacking trait in many spaces and many individuals. And I think at the end of the day, the toughest person for us to lead is ourselves. And in order for us to be able to lead others, in order to elevate others and serve others, we first need to master our own space of leadership. So what is one area of leadership that you can level up in? Maybe what's one question or topic that Dave brought up that really made you think a little bit more about how you're leading maybe your own life, or how you're leading your teams or the people that you're with on a daily basis? There's always room for us to elevate. And in this conversation, Dave brought up a lot of great points that allowed me to reflect back and go, where can I become a better leader? So ask yourself that question. How can you take your leadership to the next level today? If you want Dave's book, if you want to check out his website, any of the information that we talked about in this interview, feel free to check out the show notes at mattaitchison.com, or if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to check them out in the show notes below. But all around great interview. Leadership. It's lacking in many spaces, but those who find a way to master it and continue to engage with it and grow by being a better leader only make those around them better as well. So for those that want to continue to elevate your own leadership skills, feel free to subscribe to our Millionaire newsletter on a weekly basis, where we share episodes, free tools, free resources. And I do have a freebie for you here real quick. If you're looking to grab a new book, add it to your reading list. We have millionaire recommended reads from all of our guests and people on the show in the community that we have compiled that we want to give to you. All you have to do is text Millionaire Books to 44222. Millionaire Books, that's all one word, to 44222, and you'll get a free PDF shot over to your email. So thanks for listening today. As always, I'm extremely grateful to be sharing some of your day with you. I know you have many listening and viewing options when it comes to podcasts, when it comes to content, but just know each and every week we're going to keep bringing amazing millionaire guests, amazing content that will empower you to unlock a more rich and fulfilling life, not just financially, but in all areas of life, to be that whole life millionaire and design and architect the ideal life that you want to live. So until next time, keep investing in yourself and your wealth on your march to $1 million and beyond. Cheers, my friends.